In the shadows of history, woven into the fabric of Hungarian folklore, lies the chilling tale of Countess Elizabeth Báthory, often whispered as one of the most prolific female serial killers of all time. Born in 1560 into a noble family, Elizabeth was endowed not only with wealth and power but also with a formidable intellect and education. Yet, beneath her polished exterior lurked a darkness that would eventually taint her legacy with horror. The story unfolds in the late 16th and early 17th centuries, within the imposing walls of Countess Castle, nestled in the heart of the Carpathian Mountains. It was here that Elizabeth, often known as the Blood Countess, is said to have committed heinous acts that gave rise to legends and nightmares. Married at the age of 15 to Ferenc Nadasdy, a distinguished warrior known as the Black Knight of Hungary, Elizabeth managed vast estates and affairs with a firm hand while her husband was away at war. Their marriage, though primarily a political alliance, brought Elizabeth even greater power and influence across Hungary. However, as the years passed, whispers began to circulate about the Countess's gruesome hobbies. After the death of her husband in 1604, these rumors intensified, with tales that she tortured and killed young servant girls and local peasants. The stories became increasingly macabre, with allegations that Elizabeth bathed in the blood of virgins to maintain her youthful appearance. By the early 1600s, the accumulation of tales could no longer be ignored. King Matthias II, likely motivated by both political and personal reasons, ordered an investigation led by György Thurzo, the Palatine of Hungary. In December 1610, Thurzo raided Countess Castle and reportedly discovered one girl dead, another dying, and several others imprisoned and bearing signs of torture. The trial that followed was as sensational as it was swift. Over 300 witnesses and survivors testified against Elizabeth and her accomplices. The tales they spun were of unspeakable cruelty, beatings, burnings, and mutilations performed with sadistic glee. While Elizabeth herself was never officially tried, her noble status protected her from public trial. She was confined to a set of rooms in her own castle, where she lived out the last 4 years of her life bricked in with only small slits for food and air. Elizabeth Báthory's story has been the subject of much debate and fascination over the centuries. Was she a victim of a political conspiracy, or was she truly the monster that history paints her to be? Her alleged 650 victims make her one of the most prolific serial killers in history, yet some modern historians argue that her story has been exaggerated or even fabricated by enemies who benefited from her downfall. Despite these controversies, the legend of the Blood Countess endures as a potent blend of fact and fiction, a dark tale of a woman who stepped beyond the bounds of her gender and station, only to become a monster of folklore. Her life remains a captivating story of power, mystery, and alleged madness, leaving a legacy that continues to haunt the corridors of history.
Blood baths. One of the most bizarre allegations against Elizabeth Báthory was that she bathed in the blood of virgins to maintain her youthful appearance. This gruesome practice has cemented her reputation in folklore as the Blood Countess. High victim count. The count of her alleged victims, which some sources claim as high as 650, makes her one of the most prolific female serial killers in history. This number is exceptionally high and contributes significantly to her notoriety. Nobility and torture. It's unusual and disturbing that a woman of such high social standing, a countess, was accused of directly participating in the torture and murder of hundreds of young girls. Her noble status and the extreme nature of the alleged crimes create a stark contrast. Confinement in her own castle. After her arrest, Elizabeth was not executed or sent to a conventional prison. Instead, she was bricked up in her own castle, confined to a set of rooms until her death. This form of imprisonment is particularly unique and eerie. Political and social ramifications. Some historians suggest that her trial and the subsequent legends might have been influenced by political motives, including possible benefit to those who owed her money or who stood to gain from her downfall, adding a layer of political intrigue to the horror. Contested historical accuracy. The fact that modern scholars debate the truth of the accusations, suggesting that some claims might have been exaggerated or even fabricated, adds a layer of mystery and uncertainty to her story.